H. Styles Bridges was one of only 7 Republicans elected as governor in the nation in 1934. And at age 36, he was one of the youngest governors in the nation and the youngest ever to be elevated to that office in New Hampshire up to that time. Styles Bridges was the youngest U.S. senator at age 38. Also youngest, a member of the Appropriations Committee, a thing called the Privileges and Election Committee, and the District of Columbia Committee. And in the 80th Congress in 1947, at age 48, he was the youngest chairman in the history of the Appropriations Committee.
He was a long way from being an iron ideologue who thought only one way. He was a very subtle person who worked effectively behind the scenes, ways that really not done very much today. He was a power broker of the best kind because he wanted to get things done. I've wondered often since I've got interested again in Styles Bridges and read the book, what he would think of the Senate today. I think he would be shocked at the lack of human relationships between the senators. The fact they don't know each other very well. That they catch the plane for home on Thursday, come back on Tuesday. They don't have the relationships they did in those days, so they get to know each other. And Styles Bridges knew everybody. He was one of Lyndon Johnson's favorite Republicans, not because they agreed on an awful lot, but because they could do business together and accomplish things and get things done. I think he would also be stunned how badly the Senate functions. I got to know him pretty well in his last few years of life when I was covering the Senate, and go back in the back room. And in those days, you'd go in the back room, a reporter with a senator, and toward the end of the evening, and you'd have a drink. They don't do that anymore. I guess that's politically incorrect. But you'd have a drink and you'd talk, and I'd learn a lot. I think he would also be surprised at the distance between the media, the news media — I've been a journalist all my life — and the senators. A reporter calls up a senator today, and they'll give you the press secretary, and the press secretary says, "What do you want?" Well, I'll tell you something. The way I did journalism, I called up a guy, I didn't really know what I wanted. But I would, do a little bottom fishing and try to catch something.
Maybe bass.
Maybe bass. Senator Bridges never refused a request by any reporter to come off the Senate floor and talk to him. And we got to know you. You could go into the back room there where they cut the deals. You wouldn't be there for the deal cutting, but he'd tell you a lot about it. And that's why the reporters loved Styles Bridges, whether they were liberals or not. Because he was accessible, he was open, he was honest, he was accurate. If you wanted to know what went on in a meeting, talk to Styles Bridges. And he'd also give you insights that were valuable. And I think he'd be surprised that there's a greater distance now between senators and reporters. I was interviewed by somebody on television a couple weeks ago, and they asked me who were the smartest people I thought I had met in politics. And I gave a list of them. Styles Bridges was one of them. Sad part of it, most of them been dead about 30 years. Now that may be just an old man's thinking that the past is better than the present. But I do think we can inform ourselves about the past, instruct ourselves about the future, paint a vision for the way politics and government should be by remembering the past, by looking at it in detail. And I think James Keeper has done a remarkable job toward that end. So thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you, Bob.